Hello and welcome to Airplane Media. My name is Sarah Barber and today I'm going to be interviewing my friend Mary Dooley. Mary is the author of an inspirational gift book called Espresso Yourself, Bits of Wisdom from the Coffee Shop, which is a collection of quotes along with really nice fun graphics. This is one of my favorites. Now I work mainly with authors who self-publish ebooks, but some books really work better as hard copies, and that's an area I really don't know much about. So I asked Mary if she'd spend some time talking about the process of creating, marketing, and distributing a printed book. So Mary, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Now, I've known you over the internet for, I think, about a year and a half now. And I've seen this book evolve as you've been talking about it online from being an idea that you were collecting quotes for to an actual tangible book that you're selling. And I would love it if you would share some of your journey with us. Maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to produce this book.
Okay, that sounds great. First of all, I'm a teacher. I teach mostly kids K through 9, but I do some adult teaching as well. I also work for Starbucks, which is where this idea for the book came from. I just started out. Usually Starbucks hires me every year to do unique Christmas gifts for all the other employees. And last May, so May of 2013, not that I don't love the Starbucks job, but it's a little, for lack of a better word, monotonous. But in May, I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do for Christmas this year? What good ideas? And then I thought, oh, it would be really cute to put together just a little inspirational booklet of customers' favorite life advice for our employees. That would be really fun. We know we have a lot of regulars. And then when I started doing it within a week, I knew what a great idea this was. It was bigger. Everybody had their opinion. Everybody had something to say. There were great stories attached to what they were saying. And so I just started collecting them. And within probably a month after that, I knew it would be a great book. And then the trajectory just kind of took off from there. But after a week, that's it. Let's start. We'll go somewhere else.
Okay. So you got it into your head that you wanted to produce this bound book.
Yeah.
And you don't have any background in publishing, right?
No, not even one little bit.
Okay. So how did you go about figuring out what you needed to do?
So I just started doing some research about what it was like to publish, what publishers were going to expect, what that was going to look like. But at the same time, I'm a big self-development reader. And so I was reading about people who had self-published and the reasons behind it and the benefits from it. And I knew right away I was going to self-publish because you have so much more control over the process. And specifically for my book, it was awesome. I got to pick the cover. I got to pick the paper. I got to pick every single thing, the colors, everything. From beginning to end, I was involved in the process, which made me very happy.
Good.
Yeah.
So did you, did you face what were the difficulties that you faced in terms of getting the book off the ground? Was it a learning curve or time or money or all of those things? How did you get going?
A little bit of everything, but mostly, and the biggest one was fear. Like, who do I think I am to write a book? Is anybody going to buy it? Do people even like it? So that was probably the biggest one. And then each step of the way, I think the biggest part is if anybody told you what it's going to take to get to the end, no one would do it. So you just do. So as I was doing just one tiny step at a time, just one, whatever the next right thing was. And sometimes I would get completely stuck. I would be just stuck on part of the process. Part of it was, for example, part of it was the artwork. I knew exactly what I wanted the artwork to look like, but I'm not a master in Photoshop or InDesign. And so I was stuck. So I just sort of put the book down and thought, okay, maybe it's not supposed to be a book. But then I met someone, and then I met him again in the very next day, and he said, oh, this is what I do for a living. And I was thinking, this is amazing. Serendipity just sort of kept happening throughout the process. So him and I worked together on that, and then next step, tiny little step. So it's been a very exciting process. I'll tell you that. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, just sort of a tangent. I hear so many people so often when they talk about once they really get clear on what they want to do and really focused, they say, oh, all these lucky things happen, serendipity, and things just sort of fell into place. And
Right.
I think it's not just luck; it's knowing what you need and seeing those opportunities, recognizing them for what they are.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, I think that's great, and I think it's actually quite common when people are really, when they finally figure out exactly what it is they want to do.
Yeah. I will say, in response to that, is that's absolutely right. However, you need to be still plugging along.
Oh yeah.
Like, I just kept researching. Like the book might have been sitting, but I just kept researching what it's like to self-publish, what it takes, and just kept asking questions of anybody and anyone who would answer them. And so,
Yeah.
yes, it was a lot of luck, but it was a lot of work at the same time.
It always is.
Yes, correct.
Now, as far as like I said, most of the authors that I work with produce ebooks. As far as producing a printed hard copy book, what did you find challenging and interesting and difficult or fun about doing that?
So my favorite part was I had read something in a book about involve your audience, involve who you think is going to buy your book in the process of your book. Mm-hmm. So I took it to Facebook and I started getting people to vote on the title. Mm-hmm. And I had these 4 ideas that were, 3 of them were lame and what I thought were lame, and one of them was awesome, what I thought everybody would vote for. Mm-hmm. And 6 people voted for my idea, and 3 of them were me and my kids. So, and then like 80, I got 100 and some votes, and 80 something were for Espresso Yourself, mm-hmm. which today I feel like, of course, that's exactly what the name was supposed to be. Yeah. But that was very fun because just everybody's comments and why they commented and why they picked what they picked, and then I also put the cover on there. I put 3 different covers and I voted. And I think back and I think, okay, my choice was ego, thinking my title is the best one, or what is the market going to buy? And I was like, okay, I can stand down. It won't take anything for me to let go of my greatest idea ever, let them run with it, because really it's all about them. So that was fun. That was a really fun, interesting learning curve process, and really, the whole thing was obstacles and fun at the same time.
Cool. Okay. So once you kind of had the idea, do you feel like doing things like your survey for the titles and the covers, was that kind of the initial marketing for the book, kind of getting people interested and letting them know about it?
Yes. Okay. I will recommend a book here, and it's called Your First 1,000 Copies.
I know that book.
Yes, and it's by Tim Grahl. Mm-hmm. And I started reading it halfway through the process of what I was doing. And had I known what he was teaching, I would have started marketing, and I would have started a blog and tried to create an audience long before that. Yeah. Because really you want to get your audience involved long before you ever launch a book. You want to start marketing when you're just building a relationship between you and your readers or your buyers, who they're going to be. So that was something I learned. So yes, then about halfway through the book, halfway of me processing my book, I started reading his, and he talked about getting them involved and then building the relationship. But at least I got the votes and stuff. Mm-hmm. That was part of his idea also. And so that in and of itself helped me sell a lot of books. Okay. So, yeah.
Now, okay, with a book like this, which is, it's small and it's cute and it's something that is, obviously it started off as a Christmas gift. It's kind of a stocking stuffer thing. It's something that is really nice to have in a hard copy format. You can hold it, you can give it to someone. And you certainly could technically do it as an ebook. You have a little sample on your website, for example, that you can flip through. And but it's a lot more fun to have it as a hard copy book, right? So where did you go? How did you start figuring out how to produce the tangible object?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I had it all done and on a PDF, let's say, or a JPEG, the whole thing, all 60 pages or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I had it all on a JPEG, and so it was sitting in my email, and I was thinking, okay, I have to send this to someone. And my brother-in-law is a fine arts printer, so he does canvases, painting canvases, and stuff like that. So I sent it to him and said, where do I start? And he said, well, I'm not really sure, but let me call my friend and ask. And so it just kind of snowballed from there. Then he told me, all right, let's see what it looks like on paper. He sent the PDF to his friend, and then we just printed it out on regular copy paper and what it was going to look like. And then I picked which pages and what the pages setup was going to look like. And then I had to take it to, a real printer. After we found out what we liked and what order we wanted it into, we had to take it to a real printer. At the same time, I was doing the cover on a different type of paper, a whole nother printer.
Oh,
and then
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting because if you look at that, it's got a little laminated cover.
Yeah.
The cover has got a lamination on it. Well, so I had to after I got the cover printed, then I had to take it to a laminator and have that laminated.
Okay.
Because I could have done it without that, but I just think it makes a book look so much
It does look a lot more professional, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So then and then I delivered those covers to the printer that was doing the pages, and then I took all of that to a real printer who bound it.
Oh, interesting.
But I saved like $1,500 by doing that. So
by doing it in separate stages with separate printers? Okay.
Yeah. And I live in a pretty metropolitan area. I'm not in the city, but I'm about 30 minutes out, and we're our own city. So everybody was within like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So if I had to drive, it was no thing to save a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Because had I known what I know today, like for book 2, I'll probably get money up front and confirm that they'll buy 10 books for whatever the amount of money is.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good idea also.
Yeah.
Is get people involved and invested before.
Okay.
So
sort of like a mini Kickstarter type thing.
Correct. Exactly like that.
Okay, cool. So that's interesting. I didn't realize how many separate stages were involved in that.
Yeah.
Were there any issues that came up as you were dealing with the printing process?
Yes. One big one. The first round of books that came out, so I printed them by 250s. So the first 250, if you opened the book all the way and sort of laid it flat, the pages would come out because of the glue.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting learning process. And anybody who that did happen to, most people won't open it and press on the spine because it's not that kind of book. But if they did, but no one, I think one person returned their book and said that happened. So that was no big thing. And I gave them 2 in return, so they're happy. But that was a big thing. And then I had to go and pick different paper, which for me, that's so fun. That's fascinating. It's fascinating to me. So I just picked almost the exact same paper, but it was a 50th of an inch thinner, and that worked beautifully. Now there's no trouble at all. So that was probably the biggest one that I came across.
Yeah. Now, it sounds like you did all of this locally, right? With local printers.
Correct. All local. Yep.
Do you think you could have successfully done it with printers elsewhere, all doing it online by email, or would that have not been worth the trouble?
It would have cost a lot more money.
Oh, really?
A lot more money. Yeah, because they all want to do it. Nobody wants to take the project piece by piece.
Yeah.
So let's say for the laminated covers, 250 of them, for them, I had the covers printed and the paper, and then I just took the covers over there and he laminated them for $45, where it's like $800 to do that through a printer. $800 for the printer to do that. Yeah, because this guy that's all he does is laminating, and not even for situations like this. He does it for big something else. I don't even know what. But if a printer does it, they only have one machine. It's not exactly blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It's not exactly what they do. So that was definitely something I was going to save the money on.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm glad you were able to do that. Okay, we've been talking about the issues you faced. Is there anything about the process that you found easier than expected? We talked a little bit about the good luck that you had meeting this graphic designer.
Right.
Anything else just kind of not you thought it was going to be an issue and it really wasn't?
It just kind of moved one step at a time. As soon as it kind of became the big idea, everything just kind of kept happening and kept happening. Yeah. So, I mean, right now it's like childbirth. All the pain is gone because it's already done. Yeah. So I don't remember a whole bunch of
just like
painful process, just like childbirth, exactly. And I, as an aside, had mine at home with no drugs. So it's just like childbirth. Yeah. So, other than that, I mean, nothing's perfect, but it came out, it was beautiful. It came out the day before Thanksgiving, and I sold 250 before Christmas and then before Valentine's Day, which are the 2 key holidays for that book. I sold about another 250-ish, give or take. So I'm on my 3rd printing at 250 each.
Great.
So, yeah.
Now, how are you marketing it? Because you're not selling it through Amazon, right? So you're not.
I am not.
So you're not going through any of the big retailers. How are you getting the word out, and how are you distributing the book?
Okay, so a couple things. One is I have my website, and the other one is I'm in a bunch of local coffee shops around here.
Okay, that's nice.
Because at first it wasn't really going over really well. They were taking a few, and it wasn't really necessarily selling. But then I presented it as I am a local author, and then everyone loved that. That changed the trajectory of everything. Some places bought 20 books right away. Some of them were sitting on them just as if it works out. Otherwise, take them back.
Yeah.
But now people, one coffee shop bought 20, another one bought 15. And so now it makes a difference in how you present the whole spiel. So that's fun. That's an interesting marketing tip, is use that local author thing. And then on my website, and then through word of mouth, pretty much just friends of friends of friends.
Okay. And you're doing all the packaging and mailing yourself, right?
Yes, I am. Okay. So far, because I like that. Yeah. That's something I love to do. So eventually, like when book 2 comes out, I'll have to figure out some way to get somebody else to do that. I don't know exactly how that'll work. Now, again, there are companies online that will do that, but they want to have all the process that comes before. So even if I paid some homeschool kid $5 an hour or whatever, something to mail them out, it still would be far more beneficial than having a publisher send them out. Now, speaking of publishers, I would like to have it become a situation where a publisher would take it over. So the goal for the book is, the first book just came out and it was people's favorite life advice and then their name and what they drink. Yeah. So you know that from the book. Next one, book 2, is going to have the same exact thing, except it's going to have stories, why the quote was important to them. Okay. Which I wish I would have thought of. I wish I would have thought of that for the first book, but iteration, here we are. And then I would love for it to be, it's kind of like a chicken soup for the soul and life's little instruction book. I think that would be, I would love to have it be that. Yeah. Like the next chicken soup for the soul books. Because the stories are funny and some of them are really sad, so it's really cute.
Yeah, so that sounds great. When is book 2 going to be on the market?
I am hoping for the exact same thing the day before Thanksgiving. I'm hoping. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Has it gone a lot more smoothly this time around now that you know what you're doing?
Yeah, because I know exactly what to do. So, I mean, we'll see, because I'm not actually in the printing process yet. I mean, I've picked all the, the cover will be a little bit different, and but yeah, so far it's going well. So far, and if you know what you're doing, I hope it becomes like Danielle Steele. You just fill them and bill them. You know what I mean? Of course, it's more than that, but there is a formula for my book specifically. I just the stories and the people involved is the big deal.
Yeah, I think it's really nice, and even this one without the stories is very personal feeling.
Yes,
it's got the names and it's got the coffee drinks that they order, and I think it's really sweet. And is there anything else that you'd like to add that you think people should know if they're thinking about going on a similar journey?
Yes, if you have a book in you, I think you should do it. It's so fun and it's worth it. And this is my biggest life advice, even though that's not the one in the book, but it's don't believe everything you think. Because the fear will keep you from doing it and the insecurities will keep you from doing it. But if you have the marketing, if you do the marketing, which I would say is 75%, and then your book is another 25%, then I would say that it's worth going for. Because I do know a lot of people who are sitting on a bunch of books because they did no marketing and they're afraid to do marketing and they have so much fear no one will buy it. Well, you're right. No one's buying it because you're not marketing it. Yeah. Okay. So, but I say go for it. Have fun and enjoy the journey.
Good advice. Well, Mary, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time that you've spent with me, and I think that the people who watch this will find a lot of value in learning from you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Thanks. Okay.
Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye. All right. We are